Jeff Slauson here from 19 News Now at the 19 News Digital Desk. Some news here in the world of transportation for the city of Cleveland. A 2023 crash report was essentially released for pedestrians and for bicyclists in the city of Cleveland. And that report does not show favorably as far as how successful the city is at preventing pedestrians and bicyclists from getting hit by cars. In fact, 550 people or bicyclists were hit just in 2023 alone. I would say about 2/3 of that, about 350 around there, were people that were walking, and then 150 were those that were on bikes. Again, this is a massive, massive problem here in the city of Cleveland. We spoke with Bike Cleveland about this. They released the study and they have more on exactly what this means and what needs to be done to make sure it doesn't happen in the future.
This really shows what an epidemic this is in terms of public health. 550 people being hit is unacceptable, and people often think about enforcement, but road design has so much to do with this, and that's really what we advocate for, is those permanent changes to the roadway that slow cars down.
Before we get to that point, I do want to touch on a part of it. When I was reading through the study, the first thing that came to my mind is, oh, there's probably way more. This is probably underreported because some people get hit, don't report it to the cops or what have you, and then of course that is included in the study. So there is a potential that that number can be even higher, right?
Absolutely, yes. This is just a tiny part of the picture. Many people get hit and for whatever reason might not call the cops. And so, I mean, I would wager that this is about half of maybe what happened last year.
Especially when it comes to a city that is slowly making gains as far as availability for bikes, as far as transportation, eligible roads, things like that. I mean, this must seem pretty disappointing, especially from all of your point of view, when you have all this opportunity, you have a city that is starting to make these roads, but people are getting hit, and obviously that is, and that's, I just want to be clear, that's pedestrians, so that's people on bikes and people walking. That's a dangerous number. What is the suggestion? What are some of the things that can be done to make sure that next year when you do this report, it goes down?
Yes, so these big infrastructure projects, like trails, like the Superior Midway, those things take a lot of time, a lot of money. What we often advocate for are lower cost, quick build options. There are a lot of like intersection treatments that you can do, things like curb extensions, raised crosswalks, that speed tables that slow cars down, that are quick and easy to get on the road. The city has allocated a bunch of money towards this. It's really a matter of just getting things on the ground.
How much does this also need to play into changing the perspective of drivers to make them understand that there are bicyclists on the roads and there are bicyclists that you need to pay attention to?
Yes, there are many people that think everything in between the curbs belongs to cars. And we at Bike Cleveland don't believe that should be the case. We are really interested in making separated facilities for bicycles, because frankly, when I'm riding my bike, I don't necessarily want to be in the same lane as a car. I would rather have my own space. And so that's, one of our number one priorities is getting separated bike lanes. I think it would be better for the cyclists. It would be better for the motorists. It would make everyone happier.
For those that are going to be looking at this study and watching this interview and then, just trying to see, I guess, what they should take away from this, what are some of the main points that you're hoping that people take away from it, and what are some of the main points that you're hoping potentially the city takes away from it as well?
Sure. I don't want this to deter people from biking and walking. It's a very joyful part of my life and so many people's lives. But I do want the decision makers at the city of Cleveland to figure out how to rapidly implement things like traffic calming, lower cost separated bike facilities, things that we can get on the ground, in the next few months, in the next few years. And I would love for motorists to, pay attention, be courteous of people walking and biking, and, I want everyone to be safe out there.
The last question I have for you here, we obviously are releasing this, you are releasing this study for the 2023 year in 2024. What's your hope that when I talk to you next year, we're discussing? Are you hoping that obviously the numbers go down, but are you hoping that there's maybe some new legislation put in place, some new funding? What's kind of the hope after, or at least a year out from this?
Sure. I think there's been enough kind of legislation and funding. It's really about getting things on the road. So I hope that when we talk again this time next year, the numbers are lower and you will see an actual difference on the streets. You're going to notice that cars are moving more slowly because things are at the intersections to make them move more slowly. And there are speed tables on these residential cut throughs. So, kids playing out don't get hit. And yeah, that's my goal.
So, of course, we will see if that actually works. Now, what fundamentally should change? That's a difficult thing. Changing the patterns of traffic takes some time, and the city of Cleveland has a 2032 goal to be able to have 0 of these pedestrians hit. That's a lofty goal, going from 550 and then in 6 years to go down to 0. See if that happens. All right, I'll have a full breakdown of this story tonight at 19 News at 10 and 11. But first, 7 o'clock, 19 News at 7. And then, of course, 7:30, we have First Alert Focus, the only weather show in the market. In that show, I'll actually be on that as well because, why not? I'll be breaking down why there is a chance that we will not see the solar eclipse in March. Or is it April? It's in April. Yep, there's a chance. Why? I'll break that down. All right, for now, I'm Jeff Slauson with 19 News. Have a great day, great night. Much more to come in the next 20 minutes on air and online.
19 News, now streaming on Samsung Smart TV. Search for channel 1035.